everyone, and welcome to our first talk from Archivio Storico Federighi. As anticipated in the introduction video, we will use this format to show you one photographic album or one artifact that is coming from Mangarji collection. Today, we will discuss about the photographic album from Federighi collection number 4, which is dealing with a very peculiar and little-known project from Giovanni Pegna, the Pegna Rossi Bastianelli hydroplane. The society was founded in 1919 in Rome to participate to the Caproni 600 horsepower production program. These airplanes were designed to be part of the big aerial offensive for 1919. With the end of the war and the closure of all the military orders, the company switched the main attention to the civilian market. And they started to design and realize a very big four-engined hydroplane for the civilian markets. The airplane itself is a biplane with a central hull. It was quite a big airplane. It was 31.5 meters as wingspan, and the length was more or less around 18 meters. The caption of this picture tells us that the Navy officer in central position in this picture is Aimone di Savoia, the King of Croatia, that is visiting the company facilities for the production of the P.R.B. The picture is extremely interesting because it shows us how the fairing between the wing struts, the wing cables, and the wing spars were realized. As you can see, everything was covered with aluminum fairings. This is the production of the wings. As you can see, in the rear, there is the top wing, in front, the lower wing. They both had ailerons, and as you can see, the top wing was realized in 3 different sections. And we got the first surprise. If you look carefully, you can probably appreciate the fact that the top wing and lower wing have different aerodynamical profiles. This is another picture of the production plant. On the right, we have the table used to glue the spars. On the left, there is the assembly line for the wings, and in front, there is a seat and probably what was the aerodynamical model for test the P.R.B. in the wind tunnel. Under the roof in the background, you can see several structures that looks like exactly Caproni 600 horsepower fuselages. Here is the rigging test for the wings. You can see a lot of construction details, and what is also interesting is the fact that there are few wing sets being built in the background in different stage of advancement of works. This is a very nice picture. It shows the engine mounting, but it has so many technical details inside that we will probably need a specific talk just on this picture to enumerate them all. Right now, we will just point out that this was the engine mounting for 2 Isotta Fraschini engine per side. And again, another picture with the engines mountings. This time, both the mountings are installed on between the wings, and the engine themselves are already in position. Another very interesting picture that is showing construction details. In this case, it's possible to appreciate the rather crude support system to put the wing in position compared to the fuselage, and several other details, among which is interesting to point out the trademark of the Isotta Fraschini engine of the period. The water jackets were bolted on the cylinders. This is the jig to produce the fuselage. It's interesting because it looks more like a tracker than an actual airplane, but it's a fairly complicated structure. There is another picture on the progress of the work on the hull. It's clear from this picture that the technology used back then, we are more or less in first half of 1919, was practically indistinguishable from the boat production of the period. Here there is a further development in the creation of the hull. The personnel is installing some wooden planks that were part of the submerged part of the fuselage, and the clearliness of the picture itself allow us to see every bolt and screw that was used to lock the planks in position. After the production or the installation of these planks was over, the upper part of the fuselage was installed. Here we can see all the bulkheads that are set in position in the fuselage and ready to be covered with plywood. Also important to notice is the access in the front of the fuselage for the crew, probably necessary for the operation in the harbor to lock and host the airplane in the structures. Another picture of the development here, the plywood cover is being installed in the fuselage. It's clearly possible to see the difference in the pattern of the fiber in the planks on the lower part and on the plywood in the upper part of the fuselage. The tail surfaces here are without any cover. It's a mixed type structure with wooden and metallic elements all together. It's worthy to notice that the spar of the stabilizer, the horizontal stabilizer, is a pipe that is perfectly fitting all the ribs, but it's also tilted, so the alignment of this structure should have been not very easy. Rather good accomplishment for the craftsmanship of the workers in Bastianelli Harbor. Here again, the tail surfaces, this time covered with plywood and fabric. It's also possible to notice the rather big wing strut that keeps the two horizontal surfaces together and the flying wires that are crossing between it to keep it stable and in position. A picture of the inside of the float. Here you can see all the details of the construction, and in the next image you can see the float covered, isolated from water and installed close to the wingtip of the airplane. Here we have the P.R.B. Airplane on the field. It was taken on the Tevere River close to Ostia, we believe, where it was prepared for test flights. It's possible to see the system, the carriage that was used to take the airplane in and out from the hangar to the water and vice versa. And a picture of the working crew that took the P.R.B. on the field. Among all the people sitting in the front of the airplane in the cockpit, standing with his head in his hands, is probably Giovanni Peña. It was not 100% possible to sort out if it's really Giovanni Peña or not, because all the pictures we have are from a much later age, so he looks similar, but at the same time rather different from the Giovanni Peña that we used to know. And here again, a picture of the P.R.B. In high-speed floatage is probably ready to take off in this moment. You can see it from the position of the tail surfaces, and it's also possible to appreciate in the front part of the fuselage Immediately beneath the cockpit and the lower wing, the series of windows that were supposed to be where the passenger cabin was installed. A picture of the P.R.B in flight. Here you can immediately realize how big the airplane is. This is a low altitude passage, probably on purpose for the photographer to take this very nice picture. It must have been quite a sight to see this, the P.R.B in flight. And to close this first talk, this is the biography we used. So mostly the material is coming from our own archives and from some not very recent publications from Aerofan. And so on the P.R.B, this is more or less everything. Thank you for listening me, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this very little known Italian aircraft. Thank you very much.